everybody. Thank you for stopping by. My name is In Jin Moon and welcome to H.O.M.E Church. I hope you had a lovely morning. I certainly had an interesting one in that my youngest son, L.A.R, he woke us up very early. And the first things that we heard when we could barely open our eyes were the words, frozen, 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 and then pause, go, pause, go. And for those of you who have kids, who have young toddlers and have had the opportunity to watch this movie called Frozen, an animated picture produced by Walt Disney Pictures. It's a fantastic little number telling a wonderful story about Anna and her sister Elsa and how she overcomes all different obstacles and difficulties to save her country of Arendelle. And of course, because I have my little toddler, we get to see Frozen through the magic of DVD almost every other day. And when I thought about why this movie has taken the world by storm, and certainly my younger son, I thought about the universality that the message is addressed. You know, here you are, you're talking about a country that is literally frozen because of this awful spell, and something that the sisters have to overcome. But in many respects, if you really think about it, many of us in different areas of our lives are experiencing the same things. We are frozen in our anger towards our husband. We are frozen in the pain that we might feel towards a member of our family, maybe our sister or brother. We are frozen in the way we think about things, not allowing life to kind of afford new opportunities or new perspectives or new perceptions on the way we view the same thing. Or some of us are frozen in our old habits, in the same ways of doing things. And so in many respects, this movie is quite pertinent to our lives in that it's a children's tale, but it's a universal tale in that this is something that we all go through. And one of the things that I came across while thinking about the sermon was this little video clip that I would like to share with you. So please take a look.
¿Cuál muñeco es bonito? ¿Cuál muñeco es feo? ¿Cuál muñeco es malo?
Ninguno.
¿Cuál muñeco es malo?
Este.
¿Y por qué?
Porque, bueno, este es moreno y este es blanco.
¿Cuál muñeco es feo? ¿Por qué?
Porque a mí no me gusta el color café.
¿Cuál muñeco es malo? ¿Por qué?
No sé.
¿Cuál muñeco es feo?
Este.
¿Por qué?
Porque está negro.
¿Cuál muñeco te gusta más?
Blanco. Porque sus ojos están bonitos y su raza también.
¿Cuál muñeco se parece más a ti?
Un poquito a este. Es que soy un poquito güerita de mis piernitas y de mis aquí, de mi espalda y de mi carita y mis bracitos los tengo morenitos.
¿Cuál muñeco se parece más a ti?
Este.
¿En qué?
Las orejas. Sí, vamos.
What did you think about this doll test? And questions about what is ugly, what is good, what is bad. And, you know, asking these kids basically how they perceive their world when you put two objects in front of them and you ask simple questions like the one that you saw. You know, what is ugly? What is bad? What is good? What looks more like you? How do you identify yourself vis-a-vis these two colored dolls that you're seeing? What do you relate more towards? Something that is white or black? And I think all of us, if we were to be put in this situation, we would have to think a little bit about our responses, just like the way you see the children doing the same. They are very aware of what race they come from, and yet they have been taught visually throughout the years that something is more beautiful and something is not. Something is seen as more ugly and threatening and dark, and something is not. And so when we think about the way we think and the way we have taught our families to think, or the way we have taught our children to think, it really raises a very important question for all of us. And that is, you know, how many of us are frozen in our own perceptions of the world as we know it? In other words, you know, fast forward 10 years. And if these children are not kind of encouraged to see the black doll as anything else other than dark, threatening, and something to be avoided, will this person be able to love the world as one family? It really kind of begs the question, what must we as parents, you know, in our own home, or as stewards in our own lives, what can we do to help deal with many of these frozen perceptions that exist in our lives? Well, when I think about this, my mind comes to this one incredibly important woman. You know, she was endearingly called Mother Hawk. And in 1990, she created a foundation called Recovering the Gifted Child Foundation. And basically, she was a teacher who decided to take it upon herself, be proactive, and take some of the concepts that we have been sharing with Home Church in terms of healing your environment, in terms of creating a sense of oneness, in terms of giving meaning to your life and to everybody that you love, and providing encouragement to everybody that you come across in your life. Well, she took these very simple concepts and decided to basically head on towards one of the most challenging and difficult inner city school districts. And she set up shop, and basically she created a home church. She provided a home-like environment. She brought different things together. It was a makeshift classroom. And what she wanted to provide for all of these kids who were literally the rejects, or the garbage that were thrown out, or the untouchables, the kids that have been labeled or perceived as hopeless, worthless, you know, forgotten. She took these children into her care, and basically through this act of love, transformed them one by one in her affirmations of who they were. She was not frozen in her perception of seeing these children as garbage of society, as the untouchable or the rejected or the ostracized, or kids that were just not worthy of our time. She saw every child as a gifted child. She did not perceive them as ugly or black or as this or that. She saw every child as a gift from God, as divine sons and daughters of God. And she taught them the Bible. She taught them to see themselves as something more than what society has labeled them in the society's perception of these kids. She taught them to perceive themselves differently. She taught them to love. She taught them to love themselves. She taught them to, in a way, thaw the frozen misconceptions that people or their families have had about them. And she taught them the power to forgive. She took these kids and basically said, I don't care what kind of a family you come from. I don't care what you've done. The past is the past. You gotta let go. You gotta let go of the past. Here is the theme song of Frozen playing again. Let it go. Let it go. Let go of the pain. Let go of the baggage. Let go of those long memories that kept you frozen in one form or another. Forgive it. Forgive your family. Forgive the past. And then she taught them how to appreciate the now. She taught them to love themselves. You are a child of God. You have incredible potential. It doesn't matter what kind of a family you were born into. It doesn't matter if you were born into a ruin of a family. You are God's child, and you have an incredible gift that you should share with the world, which is you, and all the different things that you can do to make this world a better place. She affirmed who they were, night and day. And she used vocabulary that they've never heard from anybody else. What they heard was, you cannot be successful. But what Mother Hawk said to them was, you can be successful and everything that you want to be. If you can fully appreciate and love yourself as a child of God, then you would be grateful for each and every day. And you're not going to waste it, but you're going to savor it. You're going to relish it. You're going to make something of your life because your life is worth living. You are that awesome. And in so doing, she united all of these little dreams and little fancies that these kids might have had along the way that they thought would never see the light of day. But through her transformative power of love and affirmation, these kids went on to become lawyers and doctors and, captains of their industry. They became incredible people. And so again, in this incredible being that these children affectionately called Mother Hawk, she became kind of like this catalyst that allowed the kids to thaw themselves out of the frozen states that they came from, out of the frozen misconceptions that society put upon them, saying that you are worthless, you are garbage, you are nothing, into you are God's sons and daughters. You can be everything and more. It's all up to you. And so when I think about Mother Hawk, another person that has always been an incredible inspiration in my life is my own father. My father, he's just been an amazing man. And, he preached about the importance of home church, starting in the late 70s and well into the middle of the 80s. And so there is actually a collection of speeches that he gave precisely on this topic of home church. And I would like to share one of them with you. My father spoke December 14, 1980. If you know what you should be doing, why do you need someone giving you directions? If you really carry this out with confidence, it is the same as praying. And God's cooperation will be with you. Certainly, you will find God in home church. So what my father is saying here is, don't wait for people to solve your problem. Home church is your answer. If you know what to do, do it. And do it with confidence, not arrogance, but with the confidence, knowing that you want to do something to contribute in terms of making the world a better place. And whatever you do with that heart will be like a prayer upon the world. And so the incredible thing about this concept of home church is that my father has taught throughout the years that the home is the textbook of true love. And he taught that if we can really create a fantastic and a loving and an empowered family, that will be the cornerstone to a peaceful and loving world. So you might ask the questions, how are the things that you're talking about in terms of healing, practicing healing, oneness, finding meaning, and in being encouraging of each other, how is that going to change the world? Well, let me give you a good example. In the example of my own father. You know, this is how my father, the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, home-churched Kim Il-sung, the late dictator of North Korea. What did he do? Again, using the simple concepts that we have talked about over and over again. Number one, healing. How does he go about healing this animosity that could easily be the biggest stumbling block between two men, like my father and Kim Il-sung? I mean, here is Kim Il-sung, a Korean dictator who basically wanted to murder my father for a very, very long time. But what does he do? My father has no fear in love, as the Bible says in 1 John chapter 4:18. He has no fear because all he is about love, and he's going to love everyone and anything that comes his way. He is not afraid. What does he do? He doesn't wait and sit back on his little chair waiting for Kim Il-sung to come to him. He goes to Kim Il-sung. He goes to North Korea. He goes straight into the lion's den. And I remember when my father was taking this trip, you know, there was a whole lot of conversation, you know, in the church and amongst the leaders. Father, you should not go. You know, he's going to imprison you the moment you land, and then you know, he's going to torture you and do all sorts of unspeakable things. And please don't go. We need you safe. But my father had no fear in love because he knew that one of the first things that you have to do is to heal. He goes and flies straight to North Korea, straight into the lion's den. And what's the second thing he does? He practices the concept of oneness. And how is this expressed? How is this oneness expressed? Well, you know, there's a video clip of my father meeting Kim Il-sung for the first time. And they meet for the first time walking towards each other down this long corridor in North Korea. And what does my father do? He literally bulldozes Kim Il-sung down with a big bear hug. The kind of a hug that you would reserve for the dearly beloved in your family. The kind of a hug that we give to one another because we love each other. At that moment, he didn't see Kim Il-sung as an enemy, as the ugly, as the dark, as the murderer. He saw Kim Il-sung as somebody that he could tap into to do the right thing in terms of creating reunification of North and South Korea. My father saw him as somebody that he needed to embrace and win over as a member of his family. And then what else does he do? The third step when we think about I.H.O.M.E. Church is meaning. When they sit down, my father doesn't go through a whole litany of all the atrocities that North Korean government has committed over the years. What he does is he immediately creates commonality, a common base. He starts talking about bear hunting, of all things, and in so doing creates and affirms the humanness of these two gentlemen, of these two titans, if you will. And what else does he do in his conversation with Kim Il-sung? He stresses the importance of the work of unification and the important role that Kim Il-sung can play to bring this about. He, in essence, does the fourth thing that we share at Home Church. He encourages, empowers Kim Il-sung to see himself as that person who can be instrumental in bringing the reunification of North and South together. My father is not concentrating on what he has done before or all the atrocities that he had committed before, but he is focused on the here and now. My father is not frozen in his conceptions of what this person is, Kim Il-sung is. He is not stupid in knowing Kim Il-sung for what he has done. He knows very clearly who and what Kim Il-sung is. But the incredible thing about the power of love is you see what the person can be. Not what they have done before, not what they are, but what they can be, who they can be. And so in that way, my father was able to single-handedly win over Kim Il-sung and start a long conversation that is still continuing to this day. And so again, we see an act of love, just like the way an act of love of Anna really sacrificing herself to save Elsa. That was the catalyst to really end the winter of Arendelle. This one act of love, my father's home churching of Kim Il-sung, if you will, is the way we can change the world. So again, the simple concepts that we share in home church, the simple practices that we use in rubbing up against each other to practice what it means to be a true loving husband or a wife, true loving brother and a sister, true loving parent and child. These are the very principles that will help build an ideal world. That's why the work that we do in our home church is incredibly important, because it prepares us for what we need to do to bring about a peaceful world. And so when we look at the examples of Mother Hawk, we see again how she teaches these kids to forgive themselves, to love themselves, and to unite and work together to build everything that they've dreamt about and more. My father, again, uses these simple principles of forgive, love, and unite by forgiving Kim Il-sung in his love for him, and by loving him, and not just saying that he's practicing true love on Kim Il-sung, but actually expressing it. And in so doing, taps into that humanness or the commonality that both Kim Il-sung and my father share as one Korean people. And by doing so, he empowers or encourages Kim Il-sung to want to seek that reunification of North and South Korea, just like my father, in a way, by using the simple principles of forgive, love, and unite. He has literally transformed, adversarial enemies into win-win situations that they both can work towards in terms of working for reunification of North and South Korea. So, my father ascended without having fulfilled his dream of unifying North and South Korea. But I think we as their children, if we can truly understand what he meant by home church and what he meant by telling us that home is the textbook where you rub up against each other and learn how to love. And then by doing so, we become well-versed in the language of true love in the home. Then we take it on to our society. And then in the society, we become well-versed in the language of love. Then we take it out to the world, and we become well-versed in the language of love. And one of the most powerful languages of love is music, is culture. My father has long preached that you will not change the world through power, money, and might. The only way you're going to change the world and create a peaceful world is to have a revolution of heart. It's the act of love that will change the world. So wouldn't it be fantastic? Here we are trying to solve this problem or this deadlock of the DMV zone. And we've been continually having talks to North and South Korean governments. But they really cannot seem to break through. And it was my father who, emphasizing the importance of culture, that sent the dance troupe, the Little Angels of Korea, to be the ambassadors of sorts to start the conversation between North and South and really get them to think about how we are one people, we belong to the same family, and so we gotta find a way to make this happen. Well, I know a couple people that are working in the entertainment industry, and they've put on peace concerts on the southern side of the DMV zone. But having the peace concert south of the DMV zone is not the most effective way to go about it, because we're not going and doing what True Father did. You know, we have to be able to say, like Father, there is no fear in love. We have to be willing to put on a peace concert in North Korea with the banner of forgive, love, and unite, and invite the world family as ambassadors to work together in opening up the North Korean country to the rest of the world. Otherwise, if we try with power, with might, with money, it's all been done before, and it just doesn't work. So I think there is a providential reason why South Korea has a woman president. Women tend to think more win-win, not I am there, you are there, you come crawling to me. We are more willing to have conversations. We are more willing to see different ways of accomplishing things. And I think the time is ripe if we can really kind of seize this moment to realize that God is giving us an opportunity here to do something in our lives, to make the world a better place. And here is my Father, through the messages of Home Church, saying that you need to have a dream of what you want to accomplish. Why not have a peace concert in North Korea? But we do the work of preparing for that in our home church. Because we are not going to sit around and wait for people to tell us what to do. As my Father said, if you know what needs to be done, do it. It's an incredibly proactive and an empowering and an inspiring message. So my husband and I are absolutely excited to be doing what we are doing. And we hope that you can be just as inspired and empowered like us. And if we can come together in thinking and in really perceiving each other as one family under God and leave all the frozen misconceptions behind, I think we can absolutely do it. So thank you for being with me this morning. I wish you a wonderful weekend. Take care.
I love her, I love her, I love her. Need her, I need her, I need her. Want her, I want her, I want her. She is the ugliest girl in the world. She's got no money, got no fancy car. She's got no mansions or castles. She's the most penniless girl in the world. She doesn't turn heads, she doesn't get stares, she doesn't get picked up by strangers, 'cause she is the ugliest girl in the world. black. My girl's eyes are black. My girl's heart is blacker than darkness, and she is the ugliest girl in the world. You never saw such a girl. You never met such a girl. You never knew such a girl could survive, but she's more beautiful than anything and is absolutely messed up and godforsaken world.
If you have any questions and comments, please leave them below this video, or go to my homepage, injinmoon.com, and use the contact form. And don't forget to sign up to our email list. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye-bye.